And I think we're live. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure the stream is caught up. Just bear with me for 2 ticks. Yes, we are live. Excellent stuff. Guys, welcome to the Boxing Gossip Monday night live show. I've been doing these live shows on off Monday nights for a while now. Had a little period of not being able to do them due to work commitments. We've done 3 on the bounce, and I'm keen to keep them Monday evenings. I know we've had a few new subscribers, a few new viewers join the channel recently. Just to explain the concept, on Wednesday nights, we do a podcast. There's a set panel of 5 of us. We discuss a set selection of agreed topics with a few bits chucked in at the end. On Monday nights, anyone can get involved. You can add me on Skype. My Skype address is simply boxing.gossip. If you're someone I know well, I can get you on the Hangout, share screens with you, and we can get you live. We're much more flexible on the topics. You know, I've obviously put in the titles some of the obvious topics to discuss, but realistically, we can take this conversation wherever it takes us, and we're not too rigid on the topics. So yeah, I'm gonna crack on straight away by getting my Skype up and loaded, and if anyone wants to call in, we'll get you on straight away. Lots to talk about in boxing at present. Going to be on for about an hour tonight, so we'll try and get as many people as possible on and hear a few different opinions. If you don't want to come on, you don't want to speak, that's fine. Please feel free to leave your comments in the live chat, and we will go. But yeah, Jet is going to join us via the Hangout later on. But regardless of whether Jet's on or just I'm on or we're both on, please call in and we will get you. We will get you live. So without further ado, let me go into the live chat. We have got Matt's in the chat, Damien's in the chat, Leon's on the chat, Jet's in the chat, Amigan's on the chat, and Ricky is in the chat. So good evening all, and lots of things to discuss in boxing. I've just done a video now of my post-fight review of Kovalev versus Chilemba. Very, very interesting fight that for me. I won't recap what I've said in my video because that would be boring if you've already seen the video. But let's put it this way. Gaps there that Andre Ward can take a look at. Gaps there that Andre Ward can potentially exploit. You know, it is not the... Sergey Kovalev not looking in as dominant form as he has done previously. Let's put it that way. Apart from that fight, a load of major fights being made this week. Brook versus Gennady Golovkin. Obviously, I've done videos of that on the channel, but that is a fascinating topic. Obviously, you've got the Jesse Vargas angle there. You've got the Chris Eubank angle there. Dillian Whyte versus David Allen. Short notice fight. What shape are both guys going to be in? You know, regardless. But really, really excellent fight there, and that's an interesting matchup. And finally, Charlie Edwards in a world title shot. You know, a guy relatively at the start of his career, but Eddie Hearn's pulled him out a world title shot. So you know, there's lots to talk about. We'll see where the conversation takes us. I'll go into the chat in just a minute, but yeah, right now Skype is open. See if anyone wants to call in. If you're new, add me on Skype, boxing.gossip. If you called in before, call in again, and we will get some people joining the show, which will be good. If you are one of the 24 people already joining live, thank you very much for joining. I hope you're having a good evening. If you could do me a favor by hitting the thumbs up button on the channel, I'd appreciate it. And do feel free to leave your comment in the chat or to call in live. So as I say, Jet's in the chat, Amigan's there, Ricky's there. Jet's going to join in about 10 o'clock or so, we said. Callum's there, evening Callum. Amigan's talking about the Kovalev fight, and Callum says last time Kovalev fought in Russia, he killed someone, which unfortunately is correct. Tom has joined. evening, Tom. Jet did a live show earlier and said Kovalev looked bang average. So yeah, feel free to check out Jet's channel, which is the Boxing Discussions channel. Ben has put bad day at the office for Kovalev, but don't write him off against Ward just yet. And no, I mean, that's always been a fight that for me has been a really entertaining matchup, sort of big 50-50 matchup. You've got Kovalev, who's the bigger guy, and he is a much bigger guy for me. You know, Kovalev is a guy who cuts a lot of weight to make 175, and he obviously carries real power, even though he didn't land as frequently as we're used to seeing him. You know, when he landed that punch, you could see the effect it had on Chilemba in the 7th round. And Chilemba, for me, didn't recover till 2 rounds after the fight. So you've got Kovalev, boxer, solid amateur pedigree, massive power, much bigger guy. You've got Andre Ward, unbeaten, Olympic gold medalist, one of the best active inside fighters in the world. And, you know, even though Andre Ward is stepping up in weight, you know, to 175, for me, he's kind of got that air of invincibility about him. And, you know, even before this fight tonight, if you put a gun to my head, I'd have been Team Ward. But after this, I think, as I say in my video afterwards, I gave Chilemba 4 rounds. I could see an argument for giving Chilemba 5 rounds. You know, I'm not saying it was a close fight. You know, it was definitely a clear win for Kovalev, but Chilemba took multiple rounds off him. I believe Ward will be able to take rounds off Kovalev in the same way and potentially offer quite a bit more offensively and on the inside than Chilemba was able to. So it's a real interesting fight. Let me know your thoughts on that fight. Amigan said, I remember Ward saying he could do heavyweight once. Very amusing. Well, I guess there was an era, wasn't there, where you had Roy Jones going up to heavyweight, and you know, I remember there was on-off talk about Bernard Hopkins potentially having a fight at heavyweight, and you know, there was some suggestion that Bernard Hopkins could beat a Bermain Stavern, he could beat a Ruslan Chagayev, he could beat a Serhii Lykovets when those sort of guys were champions. So you never know. But for me, Andre Ward is a small light heavyweight, and you know, he should end his career at light heavyweight for me. Scunny Tom, Chilemba is a solid fight. He is. I was amazed in the run-up to this fight how many people were saying this is 1 or 2 rounds work. I was absolutely amazed. I always viewed this as a tough fight. Chilemba had never been stopped. Defensively minded, very durable. So I think the bookies and the general boxing public got that one wrong. If you watched the podcast that we did last week, a number of us, including myself, were saying this one would go late. I did personally think it may well go the distance. Kieran has joined. Evening, Kieran. Smithy all the way has said, I expected Ward to beat Kovalev by UD, and that hasn't changed after tonight. If Chilemba can get 116, 111, then Ward can win even more rounds. I think that's a fair comment. Scunny Tom says, big title fights to announce, guys. Gary Cornish will fight Dylan Carman for the Commonwealth belt in Toronto. 9th of September. Not sure it's pay-per-view. Yeah. Well, let's hope it's not pay-per-view. But I did hear about that one. Do you know what? I still haven't seen the opponent, Dylan Carman, fight. I need to look him up. I've got to be honest. I would say my knowledge of the heavyweight division is fairly strong. I'd say I was a bit of a heavyweight anorak. And I haven't seen this opponent fight, which... maybe, you know, not to overstate my own boxing knowledge, but tells me quite possibly he isn't the best opponent in the world. But then again, Gary Cornish isn't the best opponent in the world, so who knows? Maybe it's going to be a competitive fight. Callum says, does Ward have a better chin than Chilemba? Let's not forget, Boone had Ward doing the chicken dance. That's correct, but didn't Boone have Kovalev doing the chicken dance, Callum? I mean, Boone's one of these guys who can certainly upset you. King Dedswario says, this is the RS. Forgive me, I'm not sure what that abbreviation stands for, sir. So please do let me know what the RS means. Apologies if I've said something really geeky there by not knowing what it is. Scunny Tom says he's ranked 52 on BoxRec with a 9-2 record. That'd probably be why I haven't heard of them. Guys, we're up to 30 people watching live. Do call in if someone wants to call in. Get me on Skype, boxing.gossip, or comment in the chat. Callum has said, did Boone drop Kovalev? Do you know what, Callum? I'm not sure. I know they had 2 fights. I know the first fight was very, very close, or potentially Boone dropped him, something of that nature, and then they did a rematch. There doesn't seem to be any footage available of that fight. It's one of those fights like when Deontay Wilder got dropped that seems to have disappeared off the web. So, yeah, I don't know. Someone will know in the chat. Jet might know. Tom might know. Someone will know. So leave that in the chat if what happened. And Amigan knows. Amigan said Boone did. He knocked down Kovalev with a flash knockdown. I thought that was the case. And Amigan's seen that. Yeah, so Boone's one of these guys that he dropped Ward, he dropped Kovalev. Did he knock out Stevenson? He knocked out Adonis Stevenson, if I'm not mistaken. You know, he's a very, very solid fighter. Kieran says Carmen. So this is the opponent for Gary Cornice. Beat a very aging Donovan Ruddock. Ben McGrath says it's not unusual for fighters to put in a below par performance, knowing a big fight is around the corner. I'm not saying Kovalev hasn't got flaws, but I am expecting an improved performance for Ward. I certainly hope so, and that's a fair comment as well. Smithy all the way says agree. I was surprised people thought it was an easy KO for Kovalev. Chilemba's very durable and never been stopped. 12-round win for Kovalev was a good bet. It was in hindsight. Jet saying, yeah, Kovalev did get dropped by Boone. King Dedge Wario says, this is the reason I think Ward needs a better opponent. At least Kovalev now has the chance to step his game up. I'm picking Ward. Kovalev has no inside game. And that seems to be a theme that's coming up again. Jet says Boone's done very well against all 3 top guys he's faced at light heavyweight. And he really has done. You know, based on his performances against those 3, you would think Darnell Boone has the potential to be a pound-for-pound star. But you know, it's amazing. Amazing how his career could potentially have been very, very, very different. You know, Scunny Tom says, did any of the podcast panel have an idea the Brook Golovkin fight would happen? Well, I'll tell you what, Tom, they may claim in hindsight they did, but I don't think any of us had a clue that was going to happen. I had to sit down when I heard that news. Caught me very, very much by surprise. You know, I know there was rumours that Brook was going to fight Golovkin, and Brook was up for the fight some months ago. But yeah, I was not expecting that fight to be announced. So no, I don't think any of us did. In answer to your question there, Tom. And what was let's talk Brook versus Golovkin. Eddie Hearn did a very revealing interview today on IFL TV. It didn't tell us anything we didn't know already. But what it did do is go into far, far, far more detail regarding the bizarre negotiations with the Eubanks and why the Eubank versus Golovkin fight didn't happen. So if you haven't seen that interview, I'd advise you to cast your eye over it when you get a moment spare, obviously when I'm not going live, and check out Eddie Hearn with IFL TV. I thought it was an interesting interview. It's long, it's about 15 minutes, but it's interesting. Damien says, Tom, do you think it's too early for Edwards? The honest answer, Damien, is I don't know, because I haven't actually followed Charlie Edwards' career too closely. And as I was saying earlier to some people, I don't know too much about the opponent. There'll be people out there, people who know the lower weight classes much better than I do, who'll be able to say if this is a fight that Edwards will win. Some of the early comments I've had were that this guy's tough, he can bang a bit. And if Edwards gets sucked into a scrap, if this guy uses his experience and get Edwards into a scrap, he could get knocked out. But if Edwards boxes, sticks to his amateur pedigree, Edwards should win. I don't know. I haven't seen either guy. I might have a look for it and come back to you with more detail. What I would say for Edwards is he's in a very unglamorous division. There aren't big money fights out there for him, especially not in the UK. There's not a depth of quality in that division. You know, it's thin on the ground. Put simply, it's thin on the ground because there aren't too many men of that physical size. So as a result, I guess you have to take the big fight sooner if you want any press, any publicity, any recognition and any money. Callum says, anyone got a link for Boone versus Kovalev 1? I don't, I'm afraid, Callum. Jet said he didn't have a clue it was going to come up, even though Kel called him Golovkin out before. And Ricky says he doesn't think anyone expected that. Scunny Tom says, I was interested in your betting video earlier. I would honestly expect to get Golovkin win at 1-3 or 2-5. Do you know what? If you can get Golovkin at 1-3, that is really superb value. And Tom says that's on fight night. And I agree. That's when you'll get the best price on Golovkin, when the UK fans start to bet on Brook. And, you know, at 1-3, that is, well, that is value. That, if you could get that, you know, I'm not sure you'll get that generous a price, but it wouldn't surprise me if you get 1-4, 2-9, something like that. Captain KO, I've heard that Nathaniel Wilson is in negotiations for Conor Benn for a fight in February. You know, you could sell that fight easily. I saw Nathaniel Wilson box at your call the other day. Didn't impress me, if I'm honest. Didn't impress me whatsoever. I was ringside for that fight. I'd pick Conor Benn to beat him, I'm afraid. I thought there was a lot of basic errors from Nathaniel Wilson. And I'm sure he does have some potential, but not as high a potential as Conor Benn, based on Ben's last performance. You know, Nathaniel Wilson's 27 and he's just turned pro. I think it's probably too late, if I'm honest, for him to become a class act. But I could be wrong. King Dead's Wario says, good interview with Hearn. I've just watched it. Blame definitely appears to be on the Eubank side. Eubank Senior. He's slowly running out of promoters to work with, PVC or Heyman. He's got his own promotional company, don't forget. And he, you know, as you'll have seen when you watch the interview, certainly some suggestion that Chris Eubank Senior is planning on doing the Golovkin fight on his own, ridiculously. Ben McGraw, can anyone make even a remotely realistic case for Kell winning? I just can't see how he can pull it off. I can't either, Ben. I did a video called something today similar to can Kell beat Golovkin? And stylistically, the answer is no. For me, Kell, good boxer, but he's a guy who has always relied on being the bigger man with the better jab. Like Vladimir Klitschko has been when Klitschko was winning fights. Always the bigger man, better jab. He's going against a bigger man with a better jab, with more power, more experience, more amateur pedigree. I don't think Kell can win the fight, personally, and I can't make any case. You know, with Khan Canelo, I knew Canelo was going to win. I was so confident Canelo was going to win, but there was a rational case as to how Khan could win the fight. I don't see that whatsoever with how Kell can win this fight. Smithy all the way says, I don't think Kovalev exposed himself by not stopping Chilemba. That wasn't unexpected. Nothing has changed. No, I don't think he exposed himself by not stopping Chilemba. I think he exposed himself slightly by the amount of jabs he ate, by the way Chilemba danced around him with his footwork advantage. You know, that sort of stuff. That exposed him. How easy he was to counterpunch. Scunny Tom, will Brook be Golovkin's toughest fight to date despite the weight difference? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't see how Brook causes him problems, actually. I think it's quite an easy fight for Golovkin, and I rate Kell Brook, but we have weight divisions for a reason. Guys, the phone-in show hasn't taken off in the way I was expecting tonight. It's weird. Sometimes I do this and I get 10 people calling in and, you know, get loads of missed calls. Tonight, we've struggled. So if anyone wants to call in, I've got Skype up and running in front of me now. Take your chance now. If nobody wants to call in, we'll just continue what we're doing. But I always like to give priority to the callers over the live chat. Captain KO, Tom, who is Spike O'Sullivan fighting next? What's your view on his potential? I don't know who he's fighting next. I think he's got a low upside, big power, low skills. What's the Billy Joe Saunders fight? He doesn't land a glove on Billy Joe Saunders. I've seen him fight live 2 or 3 times, Spike. And I just think his skill set is too low to get to European level. Benjamin, why has Kell effed up his career instead of fighting Vargas? Well, Vargas wasn't taking a fight for a start. That fight wasn't easy to make. Secondly, legacy, money, a chance at being the best fighter in the world. If Kell beats Golovkin, Kell will have a solid case of being pound for pound #1. Let's have it right. He'll go down as an all-time great, you know, a legend of British boxing. It's a legacy fight. It won't damage his reputation too much if he loses, unless he gets horribly knocked out, etc. Team Groves, I think when you give away that much size to Golovkin, it's difficult unless you're truly elite like a Mayweather. Golovkin isn't massive. He'd never be able to make welterweight. I agree. Tim, which fight is bigger draw? Triple G v Eubank or Triple G versus Brook? In my opinion, the Eubank fight. Eubank, obviously, he's in the right weight class. He's more marketable than Kell Brook. You know, he's a better personality than Kell Brook. He's a better talker than Kell Brook. He's got a side show with his father, which certainly adds a lot. And I also think stylistically he appeals more to the casual fan than Kell Brook, the way he throws down and comes forward, etc. Ben, surely Eubank's best move would be to swallow his pride, speak to Frank Warren, and make the Billy Joe fight. To be honest, Ben, if he wants the Golovkin fight, what his best move would be is to fight in the Golovkin Brook undercard, which Eddie Hearn said he'd be open to. Build up that fight and fight the winner. It would be an even bigger fight to fight the winner. It would be an even bigger fight. More money, more buys, more profile to fight the winner now. That's what he'd do if he's sensible. Smithy all the way, I agree. Boxing Gossip, he exposed other weaknesses, and as I say, Ward can exploit these. Yep, on the same page. Eric says, why are so many fanboys are mad about this fight and not Hagler v Leonard? Leonard being a retired welterweight. Well, I guess, well, I don't know. I guess Hagler-Leonard was viewed as a more competitive fight, but I don't know. I wasn't born back then, so I can't speak on that with authority. Captain KO, do you think Porter Thurman 2 will be the same result if it happens? I do. I don't think Sean Porter can change up his style. I don't think he's got that. And I think Keith does have the beating of them. Jet said he's just joined the hangout. Okay, cool. I didn't realise, Jet. I'll bring you in just 2 seconds. I'll just finish up on the chat here. Kamal says, who wins? And to be honest, the fight you're mentioning, I haven't seen enough to really give you a comment on who wins that one. Edson says, BG, off topic, who do you think wins out of Whyte and Jarrell Miller? Jarrell Miller at the minute. I think Whyte's looked really poor in his last couple of fights, actually. But that's a tight fight, and you need to see more of both guys before being confident. Jet, good evening. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not so bad. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very, very good. Very, very good. I didn't catch your live show tonight, mate. I didn't realise it was on too late. So if you don't mind reiterating your thoughts on the Kovalev matchup.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not so bad that you missed it. I had some problems with the live chat, so just looking to get that fixed for next time. Chilemba versus Kovalev, obviously I watched that just before I went on there. I mean, Chilemba was really good. I thought he really, really improved. I thought compared to the last time I saw him against Alado Alvarez and over here in the UK against Tony Bellew, I mean, he looked really, really good. And his jab, his lead left jab was really good. He was catching Kovalev. I think it was in the 6th. He completely snapped Kovalev's head back, and Kovalev's footwork. You know, I'm quite high on Crusher, and his footwork was very, very bad. It was almost awful at times. I mean, he was trying to he positioned himself, and Chilemba read every time he was moving into position. And you know, Chilemba. Some of the commentators said Chilemba looked bad, and I'm not really a fan of Sky or Box Nation commentary, to be fair. I'd rather listen to it with the sound off. But they were making out that Kovalev just had a bad day, and they didn't really give Chilemba too much credit. I actually scored it 7-5, but as you said earlier in the live show, it wasn't a competitive 7-5, but you can say Chilemba actually took multiple rounds off Kovalev. I'd be happy with 8-4 as well, but I think complete injustice was one of the scorecards. It was 118-109, and that almost mirrors the embarrassing scorecard that we had over here in the UK with Warrington versus Amagasa. So I mean, you know, Kovalev is what he is. He's a big banger. He to be fair, I don't know if he punched himself out trying to stop Chilemba in the 7th, but he looked really gassed in the later rounds. And I don't know if it's because he's been cutting a lot of weight, but he just didn't look good, or if it was the climate maybe in Russia because he's not acclimatized. I'm not sure. But, you know, I tweeted after, I'm not sure if you saw it, but if anyone else saw it, I tweeted that Ward must be licking his lips watching that fight because, you know, Kovalev has no inside game, let's put it that way. From range, he looked like he was devoid of ideas. His punch selection was very poor. His punch variety was actually pretty poor as well. So in terms of an elite, undisputed champion, he certainly did not look like that. And he certainly didn't look as good as, you know, facing someone like a Nathan Cleverly or Jean Pascal or Bernard Hopkins. And Chilemba was probably his his toughest fight to date, to be honest. You know, as I said, I thought Chilemba won the fight against Alado Alvarez. He won the first Tony Belly fight, so you know he's been kind of hard done by in his career at times. But he's a handful for anyone at 175. Honestly, he was supposed to face Tommy Ustazen, which was a very good matchup. Ustazen, obviously, his trainer pulled him out due to personal issues. But yeah, I mean, if Ward, what you said is spot on. If Ward can do what Chilemba did, I think he'll probably have a different style. He won't sit on the outside so much. He'll probably come in and make it an inside sort of fight and make it dirty with his elbows and head and that sort of stuff. Kovalev is really going to struggle, and this has made me change my opinion on the fight ever so slightly as well. I was picking Kovalev to win, but on this performance, I probably have to reevaluate.
Interesting stuff, mate. I think there's a few people reevaluating now, and I think even the most strong Kovalev fans would have to admit that after seeing this evidence tonight, you'd have to give Ward a better chance of winning the fight than you did at the start of the night. Jet, I've just got Tom, who's just messaging me on Skype, trying to call in. So I'm just going to call Tom back. So just bear with me for 1 minute, and we'll get Tom online.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Cool. Right, just bear with me, guys. We're just calling Tom back. Won't be a second. Tom, good evening. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not so bad, mate. Not so bad. You're live on the channel. Did you watch the fight tonight?
I watched the first few rounds, yeah, and then I had to go out for a bit. But yeah, I thought Kovalev didn't look as sharp as he usually does. Yeah, I was a bit surprised he didn't really stop him, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people were expecting him to get the stoppage and that sort of thing. But Chilemba's decent, I guess. I think he was a bit underrated.
Yeah. Do you think what do you think this means then for the Ward fight? Do you think this makes Ward a much clear favourite now? Yeah,
in my opinion, yeah. I mean, you got to look at the things that Chilemba was able to exploit, and you've got to say if Chilemba was exploiting him in that way, what is Ward going to do? I think you know, very predictable from Kovalev. Slow feet, basic feet, predictable punches, telegraphing his punches.
No head
inside game. You know, it's tough. Sorry, Jet, were you trying to get in there, mate?
Yeah, no head movement as well. Like, to be fair, he has some sort of in his previous fights, he has like a bit of head movement, bit of lateral movement. He looked completely devoid of ideas. He was walking onto Chilemba's jab all night.
Yeah, I think that's a spot on comment. You know, he's certainly looking a bit robotic in there. Definitely. Tom, did you want to talk about the Golovkin Brook fight, mate?
Yeah. I think I pretty much agree with what most people are saying about the fight. Obviously, it looks like Kell Brook's taken the fight to just to raise his profile and to cash in, basically. I think the best outcome for Kell Brook, from my personal opinion, is just how well he loses. To be honest, I think if he can take Golovkin as far as he can and doesn't get too beaten up, I think that's probably the best he can hope for, in my opinion. I think he can come out of it well if he loses well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so many people are expecting him to get knocked out horribly. That, you know, if he did what Martin Murray did, for example, he'd look all right. But can you see him? Can you see him pulling the upset, Tom?
I mean, I like Kell Brook. I think he's a decent fighter, but I think this is too big a ask. I think if he was an established light middleweight, I can certainly see, there could be an upset. But since he's jumping up so much, and it's not like Golovkin's not a big puncher at the middleweight, and I can easily see him getting knocked out. I would say probably round 5 or 6, personally.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? I don't disagree, actually. I think they'll come out. I think they're both guys who tend to fight from range initially. I think they'll come out, they'll start trading jabs. I think Golovkin's going to win the battle of the jabs. I think he's going to have the better reach. I think for the first time in Kel's career, he's probably not going to be a bigger man in there. He's probably not going to have the better jab in there. And then I think Golovkin will start to walk him down. We know how dangerous Kovalev is on the inside, and I think Golovkin will. Sorry, I keep getting my Golovkin and Kovalev's mixed up. I think Golovkin will stick it on him. We saw Sean Porter and Carson Jones stick it on Kell Brook and take away multiple rounds off him. Golovkin's much bigger. He hits much harder. He's got much better technique, and I think Golovkin will stop him mid-round.
I rewatched the Sean Porter and Kell Brook fight of the weekend, and watching that fight, you can see just how easy I think Triple G will find catching Brook. Brook seemed to hug quite a lot, and I just don't think that he'll get close enough to even attempt that. Yeah,
Golovkin's an expert at not being held as well. He's got these, you see fighters try and hold Golovkin. I remember multiple fights, and it's not that he's elusive. Golovkin's not slippery like an Andre Ward or like a Joe Calzaghe, but he's strong, and he's underrated how rough he is on the inside, and he'll put his head down and kind of shake his arms off, and he can create the space with his angles and with his feet, and I don't think Kell's going to be able to negate him like he was able to negate Porter. And I just think, I've always thought about Kell Brook. Kell Brook's one weakness is that he's not the most versatile fighter. He's very good at what he does, but he is a guy who is a jab cross from range, and I'm just not sure that's going to do it against Golovkin. Jet, do you want to offer your opinion on that?
Yeah, mate, I'm with both of you on that. You and the other Tom as well. Hello to you, Tom. Yeah, I mean, I can't see a way that Brook wins this fight. But the thing that strikes me as well is what will happen after. Will Kell become a money man? And also, one question I want to ask you both and people in the chat is that the sort of state of affairs in UK boxing? Kell Brook is probably one of the best pound-for-pound fighters we have, talent-wise, in the UK. And people are giving him no chance whatsoever against Gennady Golovkin. Is that the sort of state of affairs that we have in the UK, even though we have, 12, 13 world champions? A couple of more in world title fights. I don't know what you got, both of your thoughts on that one.
Tom, I'll let you go, mate.
I was obviously very shocked when the fight first got announced. I think Eddie Hearn basically got to a point where he couldn't obviously make the Eubank fight, and he was obviously desperate to get Kell Brook a big fight, and that, it was spoke about before. I remember when Canelo versus Khan got made. I remember
he was calling him out
about fighting him then, and I think that's basically. I think he just got desperate, and I think he rang Kell Brook and said, "Do you fancy the fight?" Just out of more of desperation of anything, of making a big fight. Because I think if Kell Brook didn't get a big fight now, he would have. I don't know where he would have gone. To be honest, I remember them talking about Lamont Peterson or Andre Berto. I thought they would have got absolutely slaughtered if they made that fight. So I think it was more of desperation, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the IFL TV interview today.
Yeah.
See that Eddie Hearn says something to the effect of, they offered in excess of $2 million for Vargas. They offered in excess of $3 million for Broner, and they were actually getting up towards $4 million for Danny Garcia. And none of those guys were coming over. And the reason they weren't coming over is because they've got it easy in America. They've got a PBC model where they can earn big 7-figure paydays against lower level opposition. Why do they want to come and be the away fighter against a guy as dangerous as Kell Brook? It's just not in their interest. And to be honest, I actually think potentially, I mean, I'll take this back if he gets destroyed and have his career ended by Golovkin. I think it's potentially a good thing that Vargas fight didn't happen, because I think it would have been humiliating. I could see that doing no pay-per-view buys at all. Kell Brook isn't a great personality. He's not someone the casual fans love. He's not got a casual fan style. Vargas is largely unheard of outside of the boxing hardcore, and yet that would be a pay-per-view fight. I could see that having loads of empty seats and really underperforming and damaging Kell Brook's marketability going forward. So I actually think it's a blessing in disguise. And this is a fight, you know, providing he doesn't get horrifically injured, this is a fight that will do real good for him and good for his career, even if he loses badly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think I don't blame Kell Brook for taking the fight, because obviously at the end of the day he needs to get a big, you know, he needs to get a big name other than Porter on his resume. I don't necessarily blame him for taking the fight. I just can't see him winning. Yeah, I think risk reward at the end of the day. Obviously, there's a huge risk, but then there's also a very big reward. So,
absolutely, yeah. It's the reward there is massive, and you know, we have to. If Kell Brook were to win this fight, we'd have to be throwing him into the conversation of, you know, at that point, he's 38-0. He's welterweight champion, middleweight champion. He's beat a guy who is considered by many to be pound for pound number one, who's 2 divisions above him. You know, at that point, you're talking about Kell Brook as potentially the all-time great British fighter. You know, and I know that sounds bizarre, but if he goes and smashes up Golovkin, we have to throw him into that conversation. And, you know, his earning potential is crazy after that. You have Brook Canelo, Brook Khan, Brook Mayweather. You know, the potential is crazy.
Would that bring into question how good Triple G is if Kell Brook beats him? Because obviously, I mean, Triple G hasn't got that massive name on his resume at the moment. People put him obviously in the top 5 pound for pound based on obviously, you know, the amount of fights, the knockouts and things. But would you think that brings into question how good he is if Kell Brook can beat him?
Massively, because Kell Brook shouldn't be beating him. I mean, Golovkin's the top middleweight in the world. Kell Brook is arguably the top welterweight in the world. And, you know, the definite top middleweight in the world should be beating one of the top 3 welterweights in the world massively. You know, I am one of these. I'm not someone who considers Golovkin pound for pound top 3 myself, because the resume is just too weak. You know, but regardless, you could tell by the eye test he's a very, very, very good fighter.
Can I ask your opinion on who you think Billy Joe Saunders would be fighting on the Canelo Liam Smith undercard?
He's not fighting on the undercard anymore. Actually, he's announced the date in September, I believe, and the details are unclear. But it looks like he is going to be headlining his own show. There are some suggestions that they're trying to start talks with Eubank again. I've heard Hassan and Dan mentioned several times. I've even heard David Lemieux mentioned. I don't know, Jet, do you have any hints and ideas as to who that is?
Well, Eubank, I've heard the rumours that those are constant rumours. Hassan and Dam, he's actually fighting at the Olympics, so I don't think that he'd actually be available. He will probably want to fight, you know, a top level guy so soon after competing there. David Lemieux's obviously been he's been talked about a few times here and there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if it was David Lemieux. I'm not actually sure if he's rated in the WBO top 15. There was someone in the chat who said Kurt Zide. I'm not sure if that's his name. Versus Tommy Langford is supposed to be ordered as a final eliminator. Kurt Zide probably would win. Tommy Langford, I don't really rate. I think he's, you know, average. But that would be a good fight against Billy Joe if he's mandated to face him. But yeah, as I said, I heard the rumors that he might face Canelo in December, but I don't think Canelo's going to fight any time after the Liam Smith fight. So probably that's out of the question. So yeah, hopefully it's a good opponent, but he's wasted a lot of time. You know, I'd say 6 to 9 months on doing absolutely nothing. I know he got the injury, but he hasn't really been doing anything. And you know, the boxing world's been passing him by. Amir Khan stepped up to middleweight, Kell Brook stepping up to middleweight, and he's holding a belt, you know, doing absolutely nothing. So I like to see him get back in the ring. I like Billy Joe. So yeah, hopefully it's someone decent.
Absolutely. Tom, was there anything more from yourself, mate?
I heard. I mean, I've heard the David Lemieux rumor. Also, what do you think about Curtis Stevens? He's ranked in the WBO, or Toriano Johnson?
I think Curtis Stevens is more realistic. I personally don't think David Lemieux will come over. The truth is that Billy Joe Saunders on a Box Nation bill, and I'm not trying to be a hater here, I'm Billy Joe Saunders' biggest fan, but that's going to sell 3,000 tickets, maybe 4,000 tickets. It's hardly going to be a massive draw to Box Nation. David Lemieux is a guy he's with Golden Boy. He's a big name out in the States. You know, he's fought for big purses in the past. I don't see him being interested in coming over here, even with the title on the line, if I'm honest. You know, someone like David Lemieux will be able to get another title shot if he's motivated to do that. Curtis Stevens, Triano Johnson, I'd say those are guys with slightly smaller profiles, maybe not with the same marketability as David Lemieux. I think those fights are possible, definitely. I think those fights are possible. It wouldn't surprise me to see Frank Warren try and pull out a domestic opponent. You know, domestic opponents obviously always marketable. I don't know who's out there. There has been some rumours that Tommy Langford could get the chance. You know, I don't know if someone like, you know, I don't really know who else is out there.
But he's not rated.
Who's that?
But he's not rated.
Yeah. Whether they'd want to do that as a rematch for that one, I don't know.
I mean, that was quite a close fight, actually. But, you know, now Billy Joe is by far and beyond too good for him. There's no one else, really. Andy Lee's still rated in the WBO. Rematch would be decent, I guess. Chris Eubank Jr. is rated. So, obviously, that's a big rematch. But, obviously, Eubank's still got that one fight left with Matchroom. So, you know, and obviously all this stuff with Senior going on. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen with them.
Apparently, there was something in the contract that the Eubanks are excused from the second fight if the Golovkin fight isn't made.
Yeah, me, I wouldn't be surprised, but, you know, Eubank Seniors. I actually was at work when the Kell Brook Golovkin fight got made, and my cousin just messaged me. He goes, "Kell Brook versus GGG, lol." And I just started laughing, and I was just like, I should have expected this. Like, I knew something like this was going to happen because we were talking about it on the podcast, and, you know, Eubank was never going to fight Golovkin. It's free PR for him. I mean, he's got his name out there. I put it in my live stream, and I said, basically, the way they've done it and got Eubank's name out is, you know, you can't fault it, but it's not the right way to go about it. They've basically got, you know, let's say maybe 10,000 Twitter followers of just talking about Golovkin, just for example. And, you know, free PR in the papers, Eddie Hearn's talking about them, IFL talking about them. And it's just like, you know, it's the wrong way to go about it. But, you know, Eubank Senior and Eubank Junior have got their name out there. So, you know, if it's Danny Jacobs next or Billy Joe next, the weight of public money is going to be on Eubank, and those people are going to tune in, win, lose, or draw.
Absolutely. He's massively marketable, isn't he? He's massively marketable. Tom, mate, we must crack on. Thank you very much for calling in, though.
No problem. Thanks very much.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Cheers, pal. Bye now. Bye.
Cheers.
So thanks very much to Tom for calling in, our only caller so far this evening, which is slightly disappointing, guys. So if anyone else does want to call in, add me on Skype, boxing.gossip, or, you know, if you already got me, call in again. But otherwise, Jet and I will crack on. Jet, I was wanting to ask you, actually, I know you'll know the full history of Charlie Edwards' opponent. So is that a 50-50 fight in your opinion?
I mean, look, Charlie Edwards, very good fighter. He's obviously he had a really, really good amateur career, really good. He's one of GB's most decorated amateurs, to be honest. So, you know, I can see he's got a good boxing pedigree. He won the English title against Lewis Norman. He's currently English champion. I think, if I'm correct, Andrew Selby is a British flyweight champion. So that would be a good fight if they can make that, if Charlie Edwards wins that fight. Casemiro, he beat Amnat Ruenrong, who's a Thai fighter, and he's gone back to the Olympics. He was undefeated. He beat him in the first fight in Thailand, which was a scruffy affair. Controversial split decision, I think, for Ruenrong. And he went back over and he beat him in 5 rounds. He KO'd him, I think. So, you know, this guy can bang a bit, Casemiro. He won IBF light flyweight title, so he's basically a 2-weight world champion. But he's there for the taking. Charlie Edwards is very, very good, very solid, very slick. He can box. I think one of his fights, he broke his hand, and he won the fight with one arm, and he basically jabbed the guy's head off. So Charlie Edwards, I've always liked him since he turned pro. I watched some of his stuff in the amateurs as well. Very good fighter, but he needs to stay out of a brawl. If he brawls with this guy, he's getting brutally KO'd. He's not got the pro experience, so that's the only thing I really fear for Charlie Edwards. The opponents he's been fighting, apart from probably Lewis Norman, they've been pretty much knockover jobs. And the guy faced when he defended his English title, I think. But the rest of them have been like knockover jobs. So I guess it's good he's fighting a live opponent, a world level opponent. At flyweight, you're not really going to get the sort of multitude of fighters in terms of getting loads of experience. He's fighting on the undercard of Tyrone Zoiga versus Di Carolis, WBA regular title. In Germany, he's fighting a journeyman, so probably he'll come through that pretty easily, and then against Casemiro September the 10th.
Or is there a chance this fight could go the same way as Lomachenko versus Salido? What I'm thinking is, Salido, established world-level fighter. No one's going to call him a pound-for-pound great. Experienced, tough, wily as a veteran against a guy with undeniable talent, world-class amateur background, but fundamentally a bit green, a bit inexperienced. Could you see it going in that direction, Jet?
Yes, mate. Spot on with that. Great, actually, comparison, honestly. As I said, it'll be, if he wins his fight, if he comes through with no cuts, no bruises, that sort of stuff from against his journeyman, going into that fight, I think he's going to be really up against it. Casemiro will obviously try and bully him, try and push him around, use elbows, his head, dirty sort of tactics. Salido, but the only difference is Salido came in as a quasi-welterweight. He came in, I think, at 147 or 148 on fight night, and he missed weight quite horrendously. I don't think Casemiro will obviously do that because he'll have to relinquish the belt. But yeah, I could see it going like that. I think if Charlie Edwards gets caught in a brawl and he doesn't just, try and dance, move, that sort of stuff, then I think he may really struggle. He might get brutally KO'd. But if he can just stick to his boxing, then yeah, I reckon he could win this fight. Tough ask though. Tough ask in his 9th fight.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. We've got Tom who's called in. Hello, Tom. How you doing?
Evening, Tom. Evening, Jack.
Evening, mate. Hope you're good.
We've got a lot of Toms at the minute, haven't we? We've got
Irish Tom, the other Tom, this Tom. I don't know.
Tom on the line. Is there any chance, mate, you can make yourself slightly louder? I don't know if you can speak into the microphone a bit.
Is that better?
Yeah, marginally. You're not loud. It's okay. It's okay. Hopefully the guys listening can hear you as well. But yeah, what do you make of all the stuff going on at the minute, then, mate?
Well, I agree with Jack's comments, like mentioned previously about. I don't think Eubank Jr. is a loser with the Brook Golovkin fight. I think he's got more publicity than Brook or Golovkin. Whether or not that's intentional or not, who knows? I'm not one to predict what Eubank Senior is thinking. But yeah, I think it's a great fight. I don't think the weight issue is as big as what I've heard some people making out. I don't think Golovkin blows up too much after a weigh-in, and I know Brook, does he usually get to about 156, 157?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But I think that's the IBF enforcing their 10-pound advantage thing. They're 10 pounds. They have a 10-pound cut-off the day after for the rehydration clause, sorry. So that might be why. I reckon him and Golovkin will probably be at the same fight night, or Golovkin might weigh more. He'll weigh around 170, something like that. And I reckon Brook will probably weigh around 166, possibly 167, something around that. But Brook, I mean, in terms of thing, it'll be his natural weight. His natural weight. And that's the only thing I fear. Conditioning, that sort of stuff, may be a factor going into the later rounds if he makes it that far. I don't know what both you guys think on that.
Yeah, Eddie Hearn said today that as it stands today, Kell Brook is the bigger man. He said right now Kell Brook weighs more, which is probably more to do with Kell Brook spending too much time in McDonald's. But I think that is a valid point. For me, it's not the weight issue itself that is the concerning thing. It's actually the size issue. Take weight out of it. I think Kell Brook is so used to being the bigger man with the longer jab. And I think to lose that, regardless of what the other guy's weighing, is going to be as crippling for him as when Klitschko got in against Tyson Fury. What's your take on that, Tom?
Yeah, agreed. I think I absolutely love the Golovkin jab. It's one of his most dangerous weapons. I think it's just the unorthodoxy of Golovkin as well. I mean, I can remember the Rubio fight when he landed that overhand right. I think it landed on the top of his head. The punch variety from that guy is incredible. And I don't know I know Brook's been in there with Sean Porter, but I just don't know if he's got the tools necessary to be avoiding the shots coming in.
Yeah. I think Brook is a guy who likes his space. He likes his distance. We've seen him uncomfortable against Carson Jones and Porter, and you just think like, in terms of education, in terms of size, in terms of strength, Golovkin's a different level to those guys. So I think it's going to be a real tough ask for Kell, and I've got to be honest and say that I really can't see how Kell wins this fight. I really can't see it. I give him a very low chance indeed. The only chance I give him is, like the miracle sort of puncher's chance, really. But I can't see him beating Golovkin on merit, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's followed suit with Amir Khan in a way. I mean, it's in that. Well, you say a no-lose situation, but I mean, look how the fight ended with Khan. I mean, you don't know the long-term damage. Sounds like a horrific knockout.
Yeah.
I mean, Brook's still got his O. You don't until you've been beat. You don't know how that's going to affect a guy mentally. How's he going to come back from this?
Absolutely. And I think that's a key question. And it's actually, there's obviously going to be comparisons to the Khan-Canelo fight. And certainly I was picking Canelo in that, but I don't even think Brook's got as big a chance as Khan did, because at least you could say Khan's got an advantage from range, or Khan's got a boxing advantage or a hand speed advantage. Maybe Kell is slightly more athletic than Golovkin. Maybe Kell would beat Golovkin in a sprint. I don't know, but the advantages there are much slimmer. Khan has some major advantages over Canelo, which I don't see to the same extent in this fight.
I reckon Kell probably has about the same chance of beating Golovkin as Liam Smith does to Canelo, if I'm honest. I'd say it's probably 5%, if that. I mean, they're both, so far outsiders in terms of just, if you look at the fight purely for what it is and what we all know. I can't see Brook winning the fight. Can't see Liam Smith winning the fight. And it's a shame. I mean, Liam Smith's obviously a world champion, and Kell Brook will go back down. He keeps his IBF welterweight title, and he'll go back down, and he'll get more money. Don't put it past Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn will get him way more money than he's ever got. I think his biggest payday was $300,000 against, or $400,000 against what's his name, Frankie Gavin. So he'll make significantly more, but at what cost? The big question: at what cost? Yeah.
Have you guys seen the July 30th bill in Leeds? How that's shaping up? I had a look at it earlier, and it's turning into be a cracking little bill. That you've got Tyrone Nurse, Tommy Coyle, versus Mendez, and it's like he's got a decent resume on him as well. I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah, the former IBF super featherweight champion, if I'm correct.
It's decent fighters.
Mate, it's a really good bill, that. And do you know what? I think Eddie Hearn's had a good couple of weeks, hasn't he? Whyte v. Allen. If you look at that bill, I know Warrington versus Highland got a bit of stick when it was announced. I don't think it's that bad, I don't think it's that bad. I think that could be closer than people expect. Coyle versus Nurse, genuine 50-50. Whyte v Allen, I know Whyte is a favourite. You know, I think that's a real 50-50 fight. And then there's some decent fighters on the undercard as well. You've got, who's the kid?
Burnett.
Yeah, that's it. Ryan Burnett. You've got Sam Eggington, Frankie Gavin, and there's more. There's proper strength. Tommy Martin. Yeah. There we are. See, it keeps going. It's a real good build-up. And I am surprised the way that Sky and Matchroom are going. You know, I'm surprised they didn't stick them on pay-per-view undercards. You know, I'm surprised Whyte v Allen didn't turn up on a pay-per-view undercard rather than a Saturday night show.
I know most of the Eddie Hearn interviews are usually laced with bullshit, but in some of the recent IFL interviews, he was saying that a recent development with the Sky deal is that the money from the Joshua pay-per-views, etc., is going to start getting pumped into the more like the Saturday night cards.
Yeah, one of the world title fights. Yeah.
Sounds like there's a bit of substance into what he said, to be fair.
Do you know what it does? Since he said that, we've had Crawler Linares on free TV, and we've had this bill, you know, which, to be fair, is not a bad turn.
He was paying pay-per-view for that not long ago.
What's that, sorry?
With the strength of that undercard, I think not long ago you'd have been paying pay-per-view for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'd ever run a pay-per-view headlined by Warrington, but
no.
I would say that I would have thought, I was amazed to hear Whyte v Allen was on it. I thought they'd chuck that on like the Brook Golovkin undercard or something like that. But it's interesting. It's interesting. I've got to give him credit. He's made some good moves. And what a time this is for boxing. All of these fights, Allen versus Whyte, I'd have said no chance. Brook versus Golovkin, I'd have said no chance. Charlie Edward, world title, I'd have said no chance. And even on the Frank Warren side, Smith versus Canelo caught me by surprise as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's been going strong. British boxing's going very strong at the moment. Tony Bellew actually called out BJ Flores and David Hay again. So, you know, loads of things going on in the British boxing scene. It's onwards and upwards, really.
Yeah, I think that Mendes fight's a real tough one for Campbell. I mean, I'm surprised they've thrown him in with someone like that so soon after the Mendes defeat.
Yeah, the undercard fights are better than the main event. I think the main event's absolutely terrible, if I'm honest. I put that in my live show. I think it's terrible. You guys probably have a different view to me, but I don't rate Warrington whatsoever. Patrick Hyland just got knocked out in 2 rounds by Gary Russell Jr., so, you know, I don't see that fight. But, you know, Coyle Nurse, very good fight. I'd say I'd go probably Nurse with in that fight. They're talking about Nurse v Ricky Burns, so that could be a potential fight. You know, Dave Allen versus Dillian Whyte is another good fight, as we've spoken about. Luke Campbell, as you said, in a tough fight. So, yeah, I think they're trying to push Luke Campbell down a WBC route, you know, because then the winner of Crawler Linares will face Zlatan, and then the winner of that might face Luke Campbell if it's Crawler. So, you know, I think Eddie Hearn's pushing him down that route. But he's made some really good fights. He's had some cracking couple of weeks with, you know, Brook, Golovkin, you know, Whyte, Allen, a few other stuff going on, Charlie Edwards. So he's definitely delivering for his fighters. Can't say that.
I think the thing is with Josh Warrington as well is that it's, I mean, he's not going to be paying him a lot of money. He knows he's going to shift 10,000 tickets.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Spot on. Yeah, absolutely spot on, mate. Josh Warrington is a huge ticket seller for Eddie Hearn. He's a massive cash cow. And I think Eddie Hearn knows that even if he puts him in with, you know, a bum, he'll get, I hate that term, but he puts him in with a road sweeper or that sort of opponent, he'll get, you know, 10,000 tickets and league will be buzzing for it. And he puts a couple of people on the undercard. You know, he got a big turnout for the Amagasa fight, and the other guy, I can't remember, the Filipino guy, I think it was, when he won the WBC International or something like that. He got a massive turnout for that. So yeah, Josh Warrington certainly does numbers for him. Against Selby, it would be a good fight. I don't know if he'd sit on pay-per-view, but hopefully not. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I think what we were discussing earlier is that there's a bit of a he's riding the crest of the wave.
Yeah.
And he's got a massive fan base. I mean, a lot of them are obviously they're all Leeds fans, aren't they? Basically, they're just there for a good time, and he's undefeated. I think when he gets exposed at the higher level, I think that possibly could all stop. So you can't blame him really. He's putting him in with carefully selected opponents, and he's milking that cash cow, and he's milking it well.
Yeah, it's spot on, mate.
I never thought the Selby fight would happen for that reason, to be honest, because I think Selby would have messed up Warrington so badly that Eddie Hearn would have completely lost what has become a fantastic revenue stream. And Sky loved that thing of going to Leeds and I predict a riot and everyone going mental and that sort of situation. And I don't think they want that to be derailed until they've milked it properly, as you say, Tom.
But saying all that though, I personally think that Warrington's improved, not greatly, but he's definitely made some improvements in the last year or so. Even in the Amagusta fight, I can remember he was actually trying to get behind his jab. I mean, I know he's a small guy, and Amagusta was quite a tall chap himself, but he was boxing quite well behind the jab. And I'm not saying it's a very, very tough division, the featherweight one, but I think he could put him in with some reasonable opponents, and he'll give the crowd what they want, a good bit of entertainment.
No, I agree. When Warrington was first coming on Sky, I was stupidly critical of him. I was saying that this guy is literally terrible. And the first time he steps up with anyone who can even box at a basic level, he'll get horribly exposed. And Warrington really has improved. He impressed me for large portions of that Amagasa fight. There are elements to his game that are really, really improving. But fundamentally, I just believe the guy is limited. It's a tough division, but regardless of that, I just don't think the guy's got the skill, the defense, the power, the technique of a world-class fighter. And I think even approaching, the sort of world-class.
You compare him to the. Sorry to cut you off, Tom. Yeah, if you compare him to the top guys at featherweight, look, Abner Mares, Santa Cruz, Frampton, Oscar Valdez, Joseph Diaz is a prospect. Gary Russell Jr., Lomachenko has just moved up. Selby, that's 8 people off the top of my head that I can say that I would comfortably beat. Josh Warrington. He has improved, definitely. Certainly, I agree with you both. He has improved, but has he improved in the areas that are really going to help him become, beat these sort of, 8 fighters? If not, there's a good, easily 20 fighters, possibly, if I think a bit, that could easily beat him handily. But, he's making money for Sky and for Eddie. So, and they're doing well for him, so you can't criticise that, I guess. Doing well, so...
How desperate is he for that knockout as well? You can almost see the desperation, can't you, when he's trying to chase guys down, and it's just nothing. They're not budging.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if I remember correctly, and I might have got this wrong, but Josh Warrington was a really, really fortunate mistake for Sky. They were going to Leeds, and I can't remember why they went to Leeds. They had some main event in Leeds, and on the undercard, they had Josh Warrington versus, was it Samir Munai
or something? I think.
Yeah, and you could tell from the press conference that Samir was the guy Eddie Hearn was getting behind. And, I remember even Eddie Hearn saying it's great to be working with young talent like Samir. And then Warrington, who'd never knocked anyone out, got his first ever knockout on Sky. And they've obviously just stuck with him, signed him off the back of that. And what a fortunate result they have had with him. That is a proper spot of luck for their business, isn't it?
Yeah, he's making tons of money, I think.
Yeah, go for it, Tom.
Santa Cruz, Frampton, is it on Sky?
No. It's it'll probably be on ITV or Channel 5 even. Channel 5, I think. But I don't know what they've got the broadcasting rights for it. Because it's over in the States, I think. It's in New York.
Right, guys, I'll let someone else call in anyway. Good chat to you.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, Tom. I'm collapsing with fatigue at this end. But, yeah, thanks very much for calling in. Good chatting to you as always.
Take care, Tom.
Cheers. Wicked stuff. Thanks very much to the two Toms for calling in tonight. We've done well on the old we've done well on quality of callers, even if quantity of callers hasn't been ideal. But hopefully we'll have more next time. Jet, I'm running out of steam, mate. Is there anything more you want to cover before we wrap it up, mate?
No, mate, I think we've covered everything. I'll let you get off and get good sleep.
Good stuff. Thanks everyone who's watched live. Really appreciate you joining in. Appreciate everyone who's commented in the chat. If you've enjoyed the show, please hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you haven't checked out Jet's channel, his channel is Boxing Discussions. Do check out Jet. He makes good quality videos. And we will be back on Wednesday night at 8:30 for the podcast. We'll have Jet again. We'll have Irish Tom, the superstar of the podcast. We'll have Paul and we'll have Sherry returning. We'll have the five of us, and there's a lot to discuss this week. Irish Tom's analysis of the Eubank negotiation. I am going to make it pay-per-view. $16.99 to hear that man's analysis. We'll be coming at you with Whyte v. Allen predictions. We'll be coming at you with Ward versus Kovalev predictions and everything else. So join us on Wednesday. Look forward to it. And Jet, thanks again for joining tonight, mate.
Cheers, mate. See you guys next podcast on Wednesday.
All the best. Catch you guys soon. Bye now.